Thanks for watching Lessons in Minutes with Jaylee. Like, share, and don't forget to subscribe.
For this session, guys, I'll be looking at the purchases journal. Now, another name for purchases journal is the purchases book or purchases day book. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to prepare a purchases book from a set of invoices. Now, just to review the purpose of the purchases journal, remember it is used to record goods bought on credit. When we say goods, remember, these are items that are purchased by the business primarily for resale. So if you did not buy an item for it to be sold, then it cannot be considered as goods, and therefore it should not be recorded in your purchases journal. The source document that is used for purchases journal is purchases invoice. So when you prepare your purchases invoice, then from the invoice, you would make your record in your purchases journal. And again, here is a sample of an invoice. Just to highlight some key information from the invoice, the supplier is West Bay Supplies, and the business that made the purchase would have been Kingford Stores. The invoice number is very important because that is what is used to trace the transaction, and this is recorded in the purchases journal. Now, the figure that you would use from this invoice to make that record in the purchases journal would be $108. All right. Now, we are going to look at preparing a purchases journal. So from this question, and this question was taken from the Principles of Accounts text, that's the Nelson Thorne's text. All right. And it reads, Becky owns a shoe shop. During May 2018, she received the following purchases invoices, and you're presented with 4 invoices. You're asked to prepare the accounting records necessary to record these transactions. A, purchases book. B, payable accounts in the purchases ledger. And remember, payable accounts are basically your creditors accounts and your purchases accounts in the general ledger. For this session, I'll be doing only part A. So let us move into preparing the purchases journal. So to the right, we have the question, and to the left, we have the purchases journal. Yes, this is all we need for the purchases journal, just a simple journal. And it is short because this question is relatively short. All you need to pick up when you're doing the purchases journal is the date, the details, which would be the name of the supplier, whoever your business made that purchases from on credit, where the business bought goods from on credit, where the business bought items for resale on credit, only on credit. All right. The invoice number, if that is presented in the question, and the folio and the amount. The folio will be done in another session while focus specifically on making folio entries. The invoice, back to the invoice. If you are to prepare an invoice and to make the entries in the purchases journal, you would pick up that invoice number from the invoice itself. If you're presented with some invoices for you to do the purchases journal, definitely from those invoices, you would pick up the invoice numbers. In this question, you are presented with your invoice numbers. So let us complete part A, as I indicated earlier, that in this session, we're only doing part A. So the first thing that you need to pick up is the date, and that is 2018 for the year. And we're looking at May 3rd. The transaction reads, purchase invoice received from White Ford Limited for goods, $1,230, and the invoice number is 2730. So the supplier's name there is White Ford Limited. That's all you need to record for the details. The name of the business or person that you have made a purchase from on credit, and that is a purchase of goods on credit from. The invoice number is 2730. That's all you need to record. Remember, I said that in another session, I'll be looking at folio, completing folio columns, and the amount is $1,230. Next transaction, May 11. The supplier's name is P. Sackley. The invoice number is 9702. The value of goods purchased on credit from P. Sackley on the 11th of May is $2,720. And we move into May 24th. Invoice number 1818, purchase invoice received from A. Ayrton for goods $990. So once you receive a purchase invoice, you know that it is to be recorded in your purchases journal. So that is May 24th. The details is A. Ayrton. Invoice number is 1818. The amount is $990. And we now move into the final transaction, which is May 27th. Purchase invoice received from White Ford Limited for goods 2440. So that is White Ford Limited. The invoice number is 2823. The value of that invoice, the purchase of goods on credit for that period, that date, is $2,440. And we are finished recording all those purchases invoices for May. So at the end of May, what you're going to do is to total the amount column to find what is your total credit purchases for the period. So our date is May 31st. Our details is simply transferred to purchases account. You could simply say total credit purchases for the period, but you want to ensure that you remember that you're going to transfer it to your purchases account. So you can use transfer to purchases account, or you can use total credit purchases. The total, having added all these values, is $7,380. And once you're finished entering your total, all you need to do is to put your single line above and your double line below. And that would complete the purchases journal. Your next step would have been to make the transfer to the individual purchases accounts in the purchases ledger, and transfer your total credit purchases from the purchases journal to the purchases account, which will be located in your general ledger. I will look at B and C in another session. So that takes us to the end of this session, where we focus on preparing purchases journal from a list of invoices. It could have been where you're presented with a list of transactions, and once it indicates credit purchases, is a very same process that you would use to make the entries in your purchases journal.
Like, share, and don't forget to subscribe.